情被創碎，愛也盡。
In fact, it's part of a trilogy that I developed with Patrick Tam. And he's supposed to be the director, and somehow he shot the second part. It's called The Final Victory. And afterwards, I think the producers didn't want to involve in like the trilogy. So a few years later, when I was asked to be a director, I picked the first one. Because when you work on a script, on a story, you want to know what happened to these two persons, because it's but about two gangsters, a friendship among them. Because the trilogy is like they're teenagers, they're 20, and then they're 30. And so we have an idea of this trilogy just because we want to know better. Because at that time we are working on the third part, in fact, the last part of this. We imagine like, oh, these two characters, when they were just like teenagers, they should have story like this. When they are 20s, they should have story like this. And our intention is to make a gangster film without hero. They are failure. They are not success. So they are not the big boss or the hero in the mafia world. It is just like a normal failure and how they deal with that problem. So I think already the film is not a genre film, even though it's named as a gangster film, but it is more about two men. They're grown up and how they deal with their problems.
知就知輪到我哋單位㗎啦，估唔到咁快嘅啫。琴晚差佬拉咗我哋20幾人，寫啲魚魔蝦仔唔緊要，大口機佢揸數㗎嘛。聽入邊啲人講，差佬而家同佢講緊數，有可能轉佢做污點證人。呢一鑊嘢啊，可大可小㗎。 所以阿公叫我嚟通知你哋，呢排冇咩事就唔好搞咁多嘢啦。
It's very strange because Patrick is a very organized director. He has all this storyboard and the shot list way before shooting, and he's very precise on all these shots. And I thought I'm going to be like Patrick or Hitchcock. Everything is already decided. But then I realized the night before the shooting, I'm still working on the script, you know. I tried to fix it and I said, well, I will wake up in the morning and to have a short list at least, so everybody won't be panicked. And the call time is like 9 and I wake up at 8. After that, for the second film, Days of Being Wild, I think, well, I can be more well prepared, but still, it's the same. So then I just give up. I know I'm not going to be like a director working as Patrick or Hitchcock, because they have already, maybe they are not involved in the writing, so they have already set their plan. And because I'm writing all the time, and that means that the film is not always in an organic form. It's not like fixed. To be a writer, you always work alone in front of a desk and to write. And which is not the best parts. And so I feel very excited to work with a bunch of people around me and sharing the same spirit. But at the same time, you know that it's not only like your idea. You have to visualize the idea, and you need the help or the collaborations with not only the cast but also the crew. Even I'm a writer, I just want to make everything precise. So when I'm writing a script, I never make corrections. If there's something that I don't like or I misspell something, I just start all over again to write it that way. I can't write without knowing the space. I need to know where the story will happen and how the story is going to happen. between who. So normally I have the space. I can create a story because I find a very interesting space. I can create a story out of that. And I can create a story if I have a right person, a right face. I can imagine a story, but I cannot imagine something like very abstractly on a paper. It's like sometimes I will create a characters because I find that person is very interesting, like my prop master, Ah Ping, who's in the Mood for Love and 2046. And in Chungking Express is a still photographers of the film. Because we get along all the time and I noticed, well, he's an interesting character or he has a very interesting face. We should put him in the film.
做咩咁夜都唔瞓？
I think I have a very good instinct. I never do auditions. For all my films, I seldom do any auditions. I remember I shot Days of Being Wild in Philippines because I never worked with the Filipino cast before. So I do a sort of a casting, but everybody was so surprised because my casting is very simple. Take off all your makeup because everybody is fully makeup when they come to a casting. So take off your makeup, and because the characters of a woman is like a very rich family from a Filipino family, a lady. So I asked all of them to have a cup of tea, and by the way they drink the tea, I know who should be the one who playing this role.
眼瞓入房瞓啦，我今晚瞓廳得啦。
哦。
做咩戴口罩啊？
費事傳染啦。
咩病啊？
醫生話可能個肺有事，所以叫我出嚟揾個專科睇下。
唔死得人嘅，驚得咁多咩？ 食多啲橙冇事。
Like Andy Lau or Jackie or Maggie, they are just like newcomers. They are not like very established. So in a way, it is like a very fresh cast with the new directors, and everybody has not a lot of baggage with them. So it's very like a film school. We are film students working on the film. At that time, we were shooting in Lantau Island. The one who's supposed to be the boyfriend didn't show up. So, and there's no way we can ship another one. So I look at my crew and I think, well, William seems to be a reasonable choice for Maggie as a boyfriend.
你嗰晚去咗邊啊？
我同表哥一齊。
你走嗰陣時幫我鎖門，有咩事 call 我。
I worked with William before As Tears Go By because we also work on Patrick's film. So in a way we have a long friendship. So it's like he's the one who can, because he's very experienced. He's almost like the first art director. So I think for Ashes of Time, As Tears Go By, he's like someone who can be like my psychiatrist and to tell me that take it easy, don't worry about it, it's going to be okay, you know. The cinematographer of this film is Andrew Lau, who's later on become a very successful director with the Infernal Affair, and he was like 20 something at that time and long hair and very energetic. So basically we don't have time to put on tripods and we just shoot with a lot of handhelds. In fact, Chris Doyle is influenced by Andrew Lau because he's very impressed with the camera work in Ashes of Time.
表哥，你冇事啊嘛？
You have to understand, like in Hong Kong, especially in the late 80s, it is like the golden period. So all the films were shot with a releasing date attached already. So in a way, the film is, I still remember, it's like we edit the film during shooting, and we know like next week we are going to release the film. So I have Patrick to help me to edit part of it, and then I have William to help me to edit part of it. And so at the end and I have Stanley Kwan to help me for the dubbing. So it is like a collaboration, and things are much easier than today with all this releasing. It's very simple. You finish the film, you cut it, you mix it, and then you put it in the cinema, and that's the end of your job, and you can move on. In those days, a successful film, a Hong Kong film, means the film's doing very well in domestic market, in Taiwan, in Korea, in Southeast Asia. And the film did very well in those territories, and also it has a chance to go to Japan, and also it was shown in Cannes that year. It's very well received. I think it's both commercially and critically, it's well received, that film. So that's why I have the chance to make Days of Being Wild, which is a much bigger budget and more complicated.
情被創傷，我也盡被染污。